Liverpool Liverpool smashed and embarrassed by Brighton 3-0. The Seagulls absolutely demolished, tore apart, and humbled Liverpool today. You can see now Brighton go above Liverpool. Liverpool drop to 8th in the Premier League table. Another game where they concede first, another game where they concede an abundance of goals. Zero performance today. Zero performance at all from Liverpool. And I was listening to the commentators, and they were kind of praising Brighton a little bit. Liverpool an off day, an off day. This is no Liverpool off day. This is where Liverpool are right now. The Liverpool midfield is weak. The Liverpool midfield is tired. Jurgen Klopp's system has broken. It has been found out. So the players within it are being absolutely ripped from pillar to post. It's why they can't win. They can't win games. They can't win games. And that's not a dig. It's just a pure fact. They can't win games right now. Not with any real flow. They can't win consistency. But today they're outplayed in every regard. 61% of the ball Brighton had. 14 shots to 6. This wasn't a smash and grab. This wasn't Liverpool had lots of the ball, lots of chances. They got caught on the counter twice. This was an annihilation. Jurgen Klopp has got to take a huge amount of accountability here. Listen, Henderson, Fabinho, Thiago started the game. I remember Liverpool fans saying, once Thiago's in this team, we won't concede anymore. You got Matip and Konate at the back. Van Dijk's been the bad player all year. Those two are class. Awful. You had Salah, Gakpo, and Oxlade-Chamberlain on. How much money have you spent on that front three? I don't hear no excuses. This is a Liverpool team in decline and a Liverpool team on the ropes, partly because of a lack of investment. I totally understand that. There's the element that you can throw at injuries here. But Jurgen Klopp is massively accountable because he has not adjusted or adapted or changed his team style of play. He hasn't done it. And last year, the fall off bigger than anybody expected. I predicted Liverpool to maintain what they did last year and go to another level. But it's just fallen off. The players have said, Klopp, we can't do it anymore. We want to play differently. The high line is exposing us. The lack of work rate, the lack of legs in the middle is killing us. And it had a hugely detrimental effect. This is still the same Liverpool team that went on such a great run at the back end of last season. They almost turned around a 12-point gap with City, and they nearly pulled off a quadruple. This isn't the team have become old age pensioners from the end of last season until now. This isn't just because of the lack of investment. This is because the players are tired of doing what Jurgen Klopp asks them to do. Jurgen Klopp is hugely accountable. And unless the new owners are going to give him 10, 15 new players, it's going to take them some time to recover. The players have had enough of Klopp. They respect him as a man, there's no doubt. I'm sure they love him. 7 years is a long time. 7 years is long term. 7 years was long term in football 50 years ago, let alone now, let alone in this era. And I just think we could be looking at the end of the marriage, the gestation period of Liverpool and Klopp. That is a fundamental issue. Now, of course, the owners are accountable here. Been telling Liverpool fans for years, if you don't demand that your club spends, this bullshit of celebrating low spending, great net spend, which isn't even real, this is where you end up in the end. You have great moments in the ascendancy when you're top of the table, when you're winning trophies, and it's brilliant. Of course, you've got to enjoy that. You've always got to keep an eye for what are we doing what's our future planning looking like. I'll give you an example. It was an account I managed at Barclays, and it was very sad, but there's a point to this story. The guy was diagnosed with a terminal illness, and he decided that he was going to give up work, and just the next 18 months, him and his family were going to have the best time ever, and they did. They went on round the world trips, crazy holidays. He bought his kids the cars they wanted. He just lived his life to the max. When he passed away, he was in debt, let alone all his money. Man had money when I knew him. He spent all his money and some and was in debt. And I always remember like how they weren't angry with him, his kids, for doing it. His kids were sort of only a little bit younger than me. It was very embarrassing having to explain this to them. But in that 18 months, they lived this high life of, oh my God, look what holiday we're on. We're flying first class. My dad just bought me a Range Rover. Oh, look where we are. Like 7 of us here, all inclusive, first class flights out to the Maldives. But he spent everything. There was no future planning. I got why he did it. He wanted to go out with a bang. I respect that. But the aftermath was they couldn't pay for his funeral. They had no money left. And that's the way Liverpool have been treated by the owners of FSG. And every single Liverpool fan that has backed their owners through this period and backed their process of spending is accountable. Every single Liverpool fan who has slammed other Liverpool supporters for calling them out and saying, we love what they've done with the club, but we've got to spend more money. They are all accountable for this. The same as the Man United fans who buy shirts, go to the grounds. You are Glazers, win, lose, or draw. Anybody that backed FSG beyond the point of calling them out when it comes to a lack of spending, you are partly accountable for this as well. During the good times, you don't really want to look at the future, but you need to. You know, one of the worst sayings ever invented was like, live each day as if it's your last. It's the worst advice you could ever give anybody. You have, because most people, today isn't your last day. It isn't. That's what has gone wrong at Liverpool Football Club. 110%. The future planning is poor by the standards of maintaining title challenging. It's good from a solvency point of view, good balance sheets, profitable business, worth more money, you can sell it. As a business, what FSG have done is great. The culture at the club, the behavior at the club, the attitude of play, that's all great. There's no issue there. But the way you spent and the way you invested was always going to end up with the team declining on the pitch. Always going to. You couple that in with the players not wanting to run for this manager anymore. They are exhausted. They are tired. They are bored. This is why Liverpool find themselves, as you can see on my screen, sitting 8th in the league. And the crazy thing is, we're all laughing at Chelsea. They're only 3 points better off than Chelsea. Legitimately, Chelsea and Liverpool are the same thing this year. 1 win difference. And Liverpool's decline doesn't have the same excuses of the turnover, inexperienced manager, too much spending, one owner to another against the run, against the grain, as it were, new ownership sort of finding their feet. This is an established ownership with the second best, maybe even the first best manager in the world, depends on your preference. Liverpool being in 8th is worse than Chelsea being in 10th. This is one of the biggest embarrassments the Premier League has ever seen. Almost quadruple winners last year, and now they are a mid-table outfit that are getting outplayed by every team they go up against. Even Liverpool's wins, even when Liverpool win, they're not particularly good. Even when they beat Aston Villa, Villa had chances. They beat Leicester. That was only because of 2 own goals. No sustainability in the performances of Liverpool Football Club. And if we look from a Premier League standpoint, 2 defeats on the bounce. Now, yes, they had 4 wins. I'll tell you in fairness, I thought they were right against Spurs, to be fair, just looking back at their games. Southampton are a relegation team. But the lack of quality of performances is mad. It's absolutely mad. They beat City, and that was against the run of play. Lucky against West Ham when you watch the game back. Liverpool fans have got to stand up and speak for their club now. Klopp needs questioning. And if you aren't, I don't care if they're selling. If you're not on FSG's back, you are one. If you're not on their back, you are one. Stephen here says, Klopp is seriously starting to really pee me off now. He refuses not to resolve the issues in midfield, and he just stands there and does nothing. In my opinion, and we're going to get Tom Little, Zane, and Ram on soon, it's because he doesn't know what to do. It's because he doesn't know anymore. He has one plan A, and if plan A isn't working, Jurgen Klopp just says, yeah. Gakpo is Nunez 2.0. Now, I feel a bit sorry for Gakpo today because how many times were the midfield? How many times were the midfield today feeding in balls? Like that Liverpool midfield is dead. Thiago's past it. Fabinho, I can't believe at his age he's finished already. And I don't believe he is finished, by the way. He looks finished. Let me rephrase that. He isn't finished. He's exhausted. Klopp's heavy metal football has burnt them out. Change is as good as a rest, and I think Jurgen Klopp needs to walk away from Liverpool. New owners or not. I know it's off topic, but Chelsea trying for Mudryk again. nervous Arsenal fans. I didn't even see that news. I'll look at that a little bit later. Match reactions are plenty right now. AMT, thank you very much indeed, brother. Chelsea versus Liverpool is the biggest bum game of the all time. That's next Saturday. I didn't even know it was happening. It is a big game though, because the 3 points are crucial for these two teams. Sharim here says we are officially is that shit FC or slut FC? I don't know which one that's meant to be, but my man Sarim is not happy here. He's angry as hell. Will says FSG ain't good, but this season is on Jurgen Klopp. We know that Klopp has a massive say in the transfers, and FSG is only there to give money. So why Klopp bought another attacker and not a midfielder is inexcusable. Klopp has many favorites. Well, I will say that's Will. That is such a good point you've just raised there, my friend. They spent £50 million, 37 guarantee plus add-ons, 50 million. They've had to commit that for Gakpo. There are lots of top quality midfielders, Ruben Neves to name one, who's available for in that price range. You could go and get a creative midfielder in James Maddison for something similar. You could definitely go and get Yuri Tillemans, and that's just off the top of my head thinking. There is the Amrabat, who had a brilliant World Cup. He's as cheap as chips. He's about £20 million. He's an option out there. There are players available. There are midfielders available, and Jurgen Klopp has neglected that. He has to take a large part of this blame. But I said it before, you can buy him 7, 8, 9, 10 new players. I think the squad are exhausted and tired of playing for him. Nabil here says, it was great to see Brighton on the training ground. What a great day I'm having. Hussam, EZ, he said 12 points against United and Arsenal. Liverpool, thank you for buying Gakpo. Lol, is what Nabil has got to say here. On the way Liverpool play as well is this. Did you all watch Man United versus City today? Do you think in his heart of hearts, Ten Hag wants to play a game at home against anybody and have the opponents dominate the ball like that? But he can't go toe-to-toe with City right now and play his perfect ideology of football because they'll probably get beat. It takes time to grow to that. Jurgen Klopp plays one way and one way only when he's good, bad, or indifferent. The problem is when you don't have the players or they're tired, whatever excuse you want to give, he has to adapt. That back line has got to sit 10, 15 yards deeper. He's got to improve that midfield. And he's got to play. I don't know what the answer is. I'm a football fan. I'm not a manager who's considered one of the best in the world. But he's got to adapt. He's got to change. This one-track mind he has shows why he's not one of the world's greatest ever managers. He's in the great conversation because he's won back-to-back league titles and the Champions League. But he ain't on the same level as others because a Fergie, as an example, a Jose, I'm naming that managers that I've watched in contemporary times, the Cloughs of this world. I'll give you a great example, Carlo Ancelotti. He will adapt the way his team plays based on what he's got. It's not a complete. I heard an Arsenal fan say about Man United, or Ten Hag's not even playing his style of football yet. He is, but not full flow. It's his ideology, but it's a watered down version or a slightly adapted version. Jurgen Klopp cannot do that. Cannot do that. And that's fine when your team is brilliant, but when you're not, this is the end result. This is the end result, in my opinion. But there we go. Terry, what has Ten Hag won? That's irrelevant to the conversation I'm making because we're talking about Jurgen Klopp. I don't think that Ten Hag is a better manager than Jurgen Klopp never claimed him to be. But we're giving specific examples about Jurgen Klopp. You don't have to blame. It ain't my fault you're losing, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? The same thing happened towards the end of the Wenger era, where he did not want to adapt to a new style of play. Yeah, I mean, Wenger didn't have the quality of players for his style to work, but he persisted with his style and it became man v boys. He has to adapt. And that's why Fergie won more than him. Simple as that. There's no doubt. Liverpool got exposed since Mane's departure. See, I think that's too simplistic and easy, but it's a fair point. No way Bellingham is joining Liverpool. No, look, he ain't joining Liverpool in this situation. It just isn't happening. And every Liverpool fan worth his salt knows it. I'm going to bring the panel out now to have their say on the show. Make sure like buttons are being smashed and that you're subscribing to the Football Terrace. Let's go. Welcome, boys. Obviously, an embarrassing result. I want to go to you first, Tom Little. It doesn't rain, it pours. I mean, getting beat 3-0 by Brighton after being beat 3-1 by Brentford. Talk to me about how you feel right now and why these performances getting worse.
This club is in a right state, proper state. From that, they'll pull out all the reasons: lack of investment, fatigue, this, that, and the other. I'm looking at one man. I'm looking at Jurgen Klopp. I am. You are the manager. It's your job to get results on this football pitch. This Liverpool team, yes, it's got injuries. Yes, there's no Jota. Yes, there's no Diaz. Yes, there's no Nunes. Yada, yada, yada. Cry me a river. This squad is good enough to get a point out of Brentford and Brighton, and yet we've left it losing aggregate 6-1. Do you know how bad that is? You can sit there and cry me a river about how many things are wrong with this football club and these owners, because yes, these owners haven't invested enough in the past. That's fine. But they're doing what we want them to do. They're leaving the football club. I cannot ask them in the right mind to go, yeah, leave in March, but spend 100 million now, because I'm not going to get the best of both worlds. So I'm sitting there looking at this squad, going, right, Jurgen, you're a top class manager. We've just given you a new contract. You know, you're supposed to lead through the next phase of this evolution, get results out of these players. But no, he sat there after watching 63 games of the same midfield playing week in, week out, and went, yeah, they'll last another season then. They'll be fine. Joke. Absolute joke. We're sitting there now. We have not won a midfield battle since September. Since September, we have not won a midfield battle. And my manager will sit there and say it's all okay. We don't need midfielders. We don't have monopoly money. Do you think we're asking for monopoly money? We're asking for a £30 million midfielder who can run around the pitch and not hoof the ball away every 3 minutes. Jordan Henderson's there, useless. Fabinho, useless. Matip, useless. Konate was all right up until the last 20 minutes. Robertson, useless. Salah, useless. Gakpo, useless. Ox, useless. And this is a common theme throughout the season. At some point, you're just going to have to sit there and appreciate what Jurgen Klopp's done. That man has been fantastic. He's given me some of my best memories as a Liverpool fan. But the man has 3 years left at this football club. Do I want him to lead a rebuild and not see it out? And also, do I want a man who has never rebuilt a team he's built to try and do it with us? This is Liverpool Football Club. This is one of the biggest clubs in the world. We are not a manager's guinea pig. We should not be sitting there allowing a man to be our little test pod so he can try and whether he can develop and rebuild another squad. No. At some point, we might just have to consider cutting him loose, because this is not good enough. And you can point the fingers at FSG. You can point the fingers at the players. And do they deserve blame? Yes. But just because they deserve blame doesn't mean the manager gets off scot-free, because he's been the common denominator in all categories this season. Absolute joke of a performance.
Strong words there from Tom. Ram, what is your feeling on that? Because look, we can break down the game tactically. I don't really think anybody's overly interested in that, because it was as good as Brighton were. It was. This is not Liverpool anymore. And I get investment is needed, but surely they can put in these better performances. When you actually go through Liverpool this year, even in games they've won, you go through the games they've dropped points in. Surely you're better than Fulham. Surely you're better than Palace. At the beginning of the season, you should have beaten Man United. We were on the back of 2 bad defeats. You were meant to make it 3 on the bounce, and you didn't. You dropped points to Everton away. It's a derby, so you can write that one off. Brighton at home. You then got beat by Arsenal, which you can understand. Beat 1-0 by Nottingham Forest in a relegation bout. Beaten at home 2-1 by Leeds, who were in relegation. You then did win four games on the bounce. A couple of good performances, a couple narrow. And then it's 2 more poor performances to mid-table teams. Talk to me, Ram. Why can Jurgen Klopp not get these players to at least put in performances?
I'm going to agree with everything what Tom said. I think he hit the nail on the head. I am dejected with this squad, and I'm at a point where I'm starting to really lose my patience with Jurgen Klopp. Tom knows it well. I will back Klopp all day long, but he makes it so difficult for me to back him. The comments that he came out, we don't have any money. That's not the way we run. We're not asking for a 60, 70 million pound midfielder. We're asking you just to push the boat out a little bit and fix the problem that we have. Because let's be honest, all the players that we have, that they can't play centre midfield in a Klopp system. They can't. Henderson, he's done as an 8. I said it last season. He should transition to a backup 6 because that's his level now. He is back up to Fabinho, and even then Fabinho is not even that good this season. And I don't know what to say with this squad. Salah, not good enough today. You asked for that mega money contract, and people say, "Oh, he's been our best player this season." To be honest, it doesn't take that much to be our best player this season. You asked for that money, you got to perform like it, and he's not. The only player that I feel sorry for is Gakpo, because Gakpo, when he did have balls fed into him, they were so poor. They were going towards the corner flag, or they were going to Robert Sanchez. The guy was left run ragged by his own teammates. That's how poor we've been. And Jurgen Klopp, this is where I'm annoyed with Jurgen Klopp. You talked about that 4-game period where we won back to back to back, and you forgot, you didn't mention, I think did you mention the Champions League games, or was it just the Premier League?
I was just looking at the Premier League. The Champions League you were better in, but you were still.
No, but in that period, Terry, we won
Yeah.
back to back. And that's because Klopp found the answer. Klopp had a formation.
The diamond.
The diamond. He's insane. 4-4-2. But why have you gone back to the 4-3-3 when we know that it doesn't work? Like, Terry, you know when you've got a student that has the capabilities and they found the problem, but then they go back and do the old previous system and it doesn't work. It's like kind of that's like, what is going through your head? But honestly, I don't know.
Ram, do you want to go? Get it out. Get it all out. Go on, mate. Go on. Sorry.
I don't care if someone in the back of your ear is telling you to play 4-3-3. You are the manager of Liverpool Football Club. You are the man at the helm, the captain of this ship. You are meant to be restoring order at this club. And you're not even doing that. If it is the case that someone is in your ear telling you to play 4-3-3, why are you manager? Like, seriously, why are you manager? You're meant to be this cold and decisive manager that you've been. We saw you be decisive. We saw you get rid of Mamadou Sakho because he wasn't part of the squad. He wasn't the right character for the squad. We saw you at Dortmund get rid of Ivan Perisic, a young prospect at the time. And now you've just grown soft. You've grown soft. And that is a big issue because it's reflected on the pitch. Our players have grown soft as well. And that's all I've got to say, man. I think people need to stop saying FSG, because I back Jurgen Klopp. For anyone that's known, I'm Klopp in. But this guy deserves a lot of heat at this moment, especially on the pitch as well.
You can't keep pointing the finger at FSG. People are quick to forget that this man signed a new contract 10 months ago. So if he'd have signed a new contract 10 months ago, I don't think the conditions have changed like that. He wouldn't have signed under the idea that he was getting 250 million, and now they've went, oh, no, there's no money. Because then I'd ask him to speak out about it. If he has been done wrong by these owners, i.e. he's been promised something, they haven't given it, speak out, because you'll have the support of the fan base. But right now we're sitting there going, you signed a new contract 10 months ago. You can't sit there 10 months ago and say, oh, yeah, this is boss, this is amazing, I love this, I'm going to stay on for longer, yeah. And then 10 months later go, actually, I don't like this. This isn't what I wanted. You can't just change up like that.
You know how much I'm gonna big up Coppish, yeah, because they had a call in yesterday, and one caller came in and gave such a perfect analogy. Us on the football terrace give a lot of stick to Harry Kane for signing that contract and going on about gentleman's agreement. But we sound like hypocrites because Jurgen Klopp knows what it's like to be Liverpool manager and knows what it's all about. And if he's got told, oh, there's certain clauses, there's certain stuff where we will give you more money, but it's not on that contract, why does it matter? Why does it matter? Because you're just as naive as
you guys have already pointed it out. He created the diamond formation and you improved, and then he went away from it. It's funny you bring up if you have an employee that finds out how to do their job and then they stop doing it. In the UK, it's very hard to sack someone unless they commit gross misconduct. They steal, or they fight, or they do something horrendous. It takes about a year to 18 months to manage them out. You have to put them on what they call performance improvement plans. Where a person's job becomes vulnerable in England is if they pass the performance improvement plan, and especially if they pass it with flying colors. So let's say they go on a 6-week improvement plan and they prove to you they can do the job to an adequate level. And then they come off the plan where they're being managed daily and then go back to the poor old standards. You can instantly sack them because essentially it's got there's official wording around it, but essentially what they've done is they showed you they could do the job. Now they're not doing it again. That makes it a choice to not do your job properly. You choosing to not do your job properly is considered gross misconduct. Therefore, you're gone. Jurgen Klopp is choosing to not use the diamond. He's not a dummy. He's not an idiot. He's not a fool. If he found this is arrogance of the man. This is the man saying, but I want to win my way, nobody else's. And for me, that's why his job needs to be he doesn't need to be sacked today. And about a month or so ago, I was saying that I think it's premature for Klopp out. But he ain't making any changes. He's not making anything sustainable. And you're getting beat by teams where, if you were being honest, you'd barely buy a player from any of their squads. A couple of the teams that have beaten you, there's, Paulinho at Fulham, for an example, but one or two. You still have a better team out there than they have, and you're being cut through like a hot knife through butter. Zane, what are you saying, mate? You're on mute, by the way.
Sorry, mate. Yeah, been a minute, guys. Hi, everyone, all you people out there. So you can see my energy. People know me. Normally, most people know me, but I've been saying this for 2 years plus. Henderson. What do I call him? Yes. I had people up here saying, "That captain, don't disrespect captain," and now they're like, "He's shit." No, he's shit. No shit.
Zane, do me a favor. Can you pull out whatever your mic is so trashed at the minute? It sounds so bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say it might be quite trash. Hold on.
Whatever you're using, change it, please, because it's so hard to listen. Because it's just the quality's so bad.
Is that better or not really?
Yeah. Use that. So much better. Yeah, use that.
All right, cool. Right, so I called Hunt Donkey for time, bro. Bare Liverpool fans were gonna be, you can't say that. He's my captain. Da 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 da. And what did I say when we let Wijnaldum go? Why the fuck are we letting Wijnaldum go when we got a donkey? Why are we keeping this donkey? Wijnaldum was heartbeat of that midfield. And what, brothers? What side of the midfield did he play on? The left side. Which side did Mane play? Left side. And guess what? Them two together were very effective. They used to close and shut shit down. Now, you take one piece away, Wijnaldum's gone. You leave Mane. Mane was good, but because he never got back up. And I've been saying this for 2 years. Last year, when all you man were cussing me like, "Oh yeah, you just want Liverpool to lose from with you. They're gonna win them the quality up." What did I keep saying? We're not gonna win the league because our midfield is shit. I said that from the start. Day one, bro. Day one. I said, "Bear man on my case." Last couple of games of the season. What you saying now? Saying no. Yeah, brother. What am I saying? Our midfield is shit. Has it changed? No, it hasn't. You brought in a new player?
Zane, we know all this, and I want to be really respectful.
I want to educate people, bro, because people have been
wait. Stop! I don't want that. What I want to hear is, what do you make of Klopp continuing to? Because I want something new. Otherwise, you just say the same thing every week, and the fans,
okay.
The viewers know what you want to say. So, Klopp keeps picking these people you call donkeys. What have you got to say to Klopp?
So this whole season, there's been issues with Klopp. I will call it now. Klopp's a muppet because he found a system that works. Because any sensible person would think, hold on a minute, I need certain players to play a certain system. If half my players are injured or not quite level, I've got to change the system, accommodate what I've got available, right? That's basics, right? Basic common sense. This clown found a formula. Then he switches it up, bro. And all you men are saying that, "Oh, yeah, I'm clopping on that." I'm clopping, but he has to take some accountability to the fact that he knew what he's got available. He knew what these players can do because he sees them day in, day out. And it's quite clear they're not capable of delivering a 4-3-3. So what do most normal people? Hang on a minute. Let's try something different. He did that. Then he does a 180. So I can't really justify Klopp at the moment and say, yeah, he's a great manager and he's doing well, because dumb things like that I can't agree with, bro. I'm keeping it real. I can't say to you, yeah, Klopp's
No.
he's still going to be a good manager, but
Zane, I've got to interject again. Your mic's so bad, it's like it's jumping. It's I don't know whatever.
No,
It's the
hang on one sec,
connection, I
one
think,
sec.
Terry.
You used to like call in and your connection, everything was fine. Recently, like it's whatever you've done. Have you been thrown out your house or something? Like the connection is just nowhere near as good as it used to be, bro. And it's hard to. I want to hear from you, but it's hard to listen because
no, yeah. Talk to these guys. I was trying to fix it.
Just you know, sometimes you're talking and you'll say a word, you'll go Klopp, and the mic will go Klopp, Klopp, Klopp. Like it repeats it and shit. It's really weird. But yeah, come back to us in a minute. But yeah, listen, look, I get where you're all coming from, and I know a lot of Liverpool fans are Terry are just trying to throw shade at Klopp and be disrespectful about the club. I'm like this about all clubs, including my own, when we struggle. And I just look at you and think there are excuses for losing and dropping points to the teams that you're losing to. And you know, rivals are enjoying it because they're all tweeting and saying things like Klopp in. And when rivals say Klopp in, that tells you there's a managerial issue at the club. I want to ask about Gakpo today. Tom, what did you make of his second performance as a Liverpool player?
Shit. But there's so many other players to get onto before him that I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm just looking at the team that he put out today. You've bought Cody Gakpo to play left wing, and in his second game, you put him up front. I would have actually rather seen Oxlade-Chamberlain, or God forbid, the man that you've just suddenly decided doesn't play at the football club, Fabio Carvalho. Chuck either of them as a 10 or a false 9, and you'd get better out of Cody Gakpo. Our manager just seems to have an issue with putting square pegs in round holes. That's his solution to problems, and it makes zero sense. And the idea that we're sitting there going, I'm not Klopp out, sorry, but I want him to change this, this, and this. He's not going to change this, this, and this. It's been 7 years, and he still hasn't changed this, this, this. So if he's not, I don't know why there's all of a sudden a belief that he's going to suddenly go against a 7-year philosophy and change this, this, this. Do you know how much it hurts me to question this man as my manager? This man has given me some of the best moments, but I'm sitting there now going, you've got 3 years left. You won't sign beyond 2026. I have to consider your future because I'm not a Klopp fan. I am a Liverpool fan. I support Liverpool Football Club, and Liverpool Football Club was here before Klopp. It will be here after Klopp. And right now, what you're doing as manager, in all aspects, because you asked for more power when you signed your new contract, you got more power when you signed your new contract. You've utilised that new power so poorly, it's got us into this situation. I'm questioning because what was the point? We've lost 2 directors of football. We've lost a head of scouting. We've lost a head of data recruitment, all because you wanted to trust your eye test when it came to signings. And your test when it came to signings has produced garbage so far. So why should we? Why should we change a system that got us to success that we couldn't have believed we'd get for 6 years straight? Because Jurgen Klopp threw his toys at the pram and said, if I'm to sign a new contract, I want more control over transfers. It's a joke. We trained a director of football for 3 years. 3 years he worked under Michael Edwards, understanding the craft, learning the trade. He finally gets his job, a dream job for him. It took him 6 months to go, nah, I'm not working in this. I'm not working like this. I'm not working with these conditions. This club is a mess from top to bottom. And as much as the fans we need a midfielder, but let's not change that fact. But one midfielder, a Thuram or a Kone, does not solve this. It does not fix these problems. These problems are so deep-rooted within this club, it will take a couple of seasons to fix. And that's my issue, because we haven't got a couple of seasons of Klopp. By the time this couple of seasons is gone, he's gone. So then what do we do? It's a joke. You either have to convince him to stay on longer so he can see it out, or cut ties, because we can't be a transition club. We can't sit there and let one manager do one thing and then bring another one in, and it's a completely different style, a completely different setup. We'll just fall down the rabbit hole at United and that Chelsea have fallen down. And I don't want that, because unlike them lot, we don't spend enough to get ourselves out of those situations. So if we fall down that rabbit hole, we won't get out quick enough. We'll be stuck down there with the Brentfords and the Leicesters for years.
I have to completely and utterly agree with you on that. I think that everything you said there is spot on. There's a super chat that says, seeing Liverpool and Chelsea in the mud as a United fan, I'm loving it. Seeing Zayn and where is a deluded one, Hassam, Liverpool and Chelsea in the mud. In fairness to Hassam, no one predicted this level of drop-off. And this is what always happens. You actually think about it this season. Chelsea and Liverpool's drop-off, even if people predicted it, is worse than anybody thought. Man United and Arsenal and Newcastle's growth is beyond what anybody expected this year. But it also goes to show this 4 or 5 years behind anybody's crazy. If you guys get new owners, new manager in, 4 or 5 new players, few new ideas, not a complete sea change on what Klopp has built of the club, but just an adaptation of something similar, so that you don't need a massive squad overhaul. You'll see an improvement. You look at Man United, AWB's playing well. Rashford's the best attacker in the league right now. Players that people wanted gone out the club because they were dead wood are suddenly not as dead as you expected. I look at Thiago as an example. Thiago's brilliant, but your midfield needs workhorses. He's a show pony, and I mean that in a nice way. He's a show pony. You know, he's a show. He isn't there. He's one of those, those equestrian horses that dances in the Olympics with its hair all plaited and stuff. That's Thiago. What you guys need is a shy horse dragging a plow through a field. Because your midfield is the engine room, your creativity comes from around it. Bad signing. Hindsight, of course, great player, but bad signing for Liverpool. And I think all these things need to be somewhat addressed. I do. However, guys, look, I'm really sorry I can't go any longer. I've got to travel to London tonight. So I've got to leave, and it's getting late. We have done 40 minutes, though. Listen, viewers, we're back later tonight. I mean, I was just going to release another video, but I don't know. I really want to record it. I can't because I've got to go out. But Chelsea Football Club, just on some separate news, Chelsea Football Club this is official, they've flown to Poland. They've put 100 million euros bid on. That's been confirmed by Matt Law, and Fabrizio broke it. And I've now been told, just very quickly, viewers, to check out David Ornstein. David Ornstein is a Chelsea executive board members are in Turkey. They said Poland, but now it's Turkey with them. Talks around 60 fixed, 20. It's open. Mudryk is open to getting it done. It's confirmed. Mudryk is open to joining Chelsea Football Club. That news has just broke. Zane, whatever that noise is. Jeez, that's loud. Honestly, Zane.
Sorry,
Look, it sounds like this is what it sounds like when Zane comes on. I don't know what you're doing, bro. But Chelsea look like they're going to hijack this. The fact that Ornstein's tweeted, that means it's legit. And if Mudryk changes his mind and joins them, what are Arsenal going to do? They need this player. United are coming into the title race. Oh, football. Do you know what? I know you guys aren't happy, but isn't football the gift that just keeps on giving? Isn't it just the gift that keeps on?
Who do Arsenal take at this point?
Yeah.
Who do Arsenal take?
I don't know. Listen.
I'll tell you what, Solly March. He's the next Iron Robin. He looked that good today.
Do you know who they might go for? Do you know what they might go for if it was out? I'd go for Trossard. It's an extra body. Go for Trossard right now. Could work. But let's see what happens. Listen, everybody that's tuned in, thank you. I'm sorry we can't stay for longer. Tomorrow we're live in the studio, though, all day for the first games, including Chelsea Palace. And then, of course, the big one, the North London derby. So make sure you are all tuning in. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon.